another thing that's been going on with the Cubs is they just signed Jorge Lopez, who a lot of baseball fans are well aware what's been going on with him the last couple weeks. I know we'll put the video in, but a couple weeks ago he's been pitching with the Mets this year after a stint with the Twins and the Orioles, and he's been pretty good with the Mets. I think he had like a 3.5 ERA and like 20 or so innings, so he's been a fine reliever. But he blew a save a couple weeks ago, and he just laid into Mets fans and the New York media.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No. No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened, happened. So,
and that ended up resulting in him getting released. And so, hopefully, that doesn't happen with the Cubs. But again, he's a talented reliever who the Cubs could definitely use.
Somebody again, I have a special place in my heart for the Cubs, but coming from Baltimore, I am an Orioles fan first. I remember when he was on the Orioles, and he was a great asset to us back in 2021. He only played with us for a year, and I think that he was very early on in his career. I mean, he was drafted by the Brewers. He went to Kansas City. He was with Baltimore, and he had a great season with us. He was a great reliever. We brought him in, I would say, about 25 to 40% of the time to kind of close out the games. 2021 wasn't a great season for the Orioles. But speaking as an Orioles fan, one of the biggest issues that we have is with our pitchers. If you look at the Orioles pitchers like Felix Bautista, I'm trying to think of another like pitcher back from 2021. They'll come to me. But I think something that's really great about Jorge Lopez, maybe back in 2021, maybe not when he blew his stack with the Mets, is he's a velocity pitcher. His goal is to really just get outs. He's never focused on really sending stuff to the outfield. They're sending him out at the end of the game to kind of just be the cleanup strikeout guy. And I think that's something the Cubs really need. Like we've talked about in past videos, we really suffer when we get to the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, because that's where a lot of the damage is done. And I love using the phrase, we have to stop the bleeding. Again, sometimes we'll be at tie game, and then the wheels just completely fall off because of our closing pitchers. And I think adding somebody like Jorge Lopez is going to be a great asset to the Cubs.
Yeah. Again, Jorge Lopez was drafted as a starter, and it was at the end of 2021 when the Orioles transitioned him to a reliever that he really took off, which is what you're talking about. And yeah, he's a high strikeout guy in the bullpen. His velocity isn't the same of what it used to be, obviously, when he was, really dominating in the 2022 season for Baltimore. But he's again, he's just a wild card at this point. The Cubs signing him to a minor league deal. Hopefully, he gets his sort of antics under control. Again, the Cubs bullpen has been such a disaster in the late innings. I think I saw a stat the other day, where it's like if the Cubs if MLB games ended after 7 innings, like the Cubs would have like the best record in baseball. But like because like the last 2 innings exist in baseball games, like they have like a 500 record. So it's a problem. I mean, Adbert Alzolay has been bad and he's hurt right now. Hector Neris has been
it's been a complete disaster.
I can't use the words I want to use, but he's been a disaster. And so yeah, Jorge Lopez probably isn't going to just magically, return to all-star closer form or whatever the case may be. But if he can just be another late inning option for Craig Counsell, that'd be a valuable thing for the Cubs this year.
And I think the great thing to kind of focus on after all this is we talked about last week or in the past few weeks that, the trade is coming up, and we were really worried about, who did we have? Who was going to come to the Cubs, or who are we going to send out from our team? Because the Cubs have been suffering so much. I think this is going to be Jorge Lopez will be a great addition, barring that he keeps his mouth clean, and he keeps the last few innings, as strikeout on strikeout on strikeout. If he could do those 2 things, I think we got a great player on our hands.